Martins. I'm a practitioner, software developer, and software quality engineer for the past 18 years, and I'm here to share a little bit of my experience throughout the years and how I've been helping my teams succeed in DevOps with NoTEST. So obviously testing has always been thought of as a phase, a specific amount of time where you have to stop and do the testing. And unless you're Chuck Norris, in the traditional sense, testing really has to happen that way because of several constraints in the way we build and test software before DevOps. But so when I hear that a lot of people are talking about agile, continuous delivery, and going to more organized way of doing testing, I always hear also that QA is still a downer in that life cycle, right? And for those of you who don't know Debbie Downer, look it up. It's great. Saturday Night Live. Go on YouTube. But why is it a downer? Because all of the mature teams that we talk about, even our own teams, when you have those conversations about how you're doing testing, 63% of the problems and the things that hold you back is focused in the testing capability. And the reason for that is, as you look at how software development has evolved over the last decade or so, we have better ways of coding, better ways of deploying, building, releasing. So we have changed and evolved a lot. But when we look at despite evolving, we still go, in MacGyver mode a lot, right? We build hang gliders with duct tape. We build defibrillators with, candlesticks. They work great for the first time, but if you try to fly again, they will not fly, it will not fly. So we have evolved, but from a testing perspective, we have changed names, basically. We've gone through all of that list of names, which is great, QE&A, my favorite. But we haven't really fundamentally changed the way we do testing. And if we look at the blue portion in the middle, those are all the traditional steps that we have to think about as we go through, as we prepare testing, as we execute testing. So what we're seeing is, what we're doing with our own teams is trying to go from the requirements all the way to test case execution in order to provide the real value of the life cycle, which is the quick feedback to development. And unless you can automate all that middle portion, it's really hard to get it done efficiently. But how do we do it? If we think about all the stakeholders that we interact with, everybody at some point, draws a diagram or, goes to a whiteboard or a piece of paper to convey information, to collaborate and share. And from that visual, information, we turn that representation into words, right? We basically create product backlogs. We create the user stories, the details, the acceptance criteria, and from the visual representation, and then we take that middle, intermediate state. And if you're a tester or if you're doing testing in the life cycle, you create your requirements traceability matrix, your test cases, your automated test scripts from that intermediate state. But the best you can get usually is at this level. You always have your test automation lagging behind, instead of doing everything at the same pace as development. At least from my personal experience. And that is caused because we have to go through all of these unnecessary steps to get to the real value, which is, as I mentioned earlier, the test case execution. So what we're trying to do is really go from that initial diagram, which is really powerful, has a lot of information that everybody collaborated, directly to to what really matters, which is the test execution and the feedback. How do we do that? We start with formally modeling that visual information and adding layers to it so you can generate some output, such as the automated test scripts in whatever language that makes sense to you, so that you can really get to this state, which is everything in sprint, test automation in sprint. You have your automated test scripts ready before the application code is ready. So you can in fact do at least acceptance test driven development, but also BDD. It's much easier to maintain that visual model than the 250 something test cases that you need in order to cover that model appropriately. One model versus 256 independent artifacts. But for you to get to that level, you have to think about the 4 pillars of quality in DevOps. Is your code correct? Is that flowing across the environment seamlessly? Is it doing what it was supposed to? And also, is it providing the customer experience? So the takeaway really quickly is testing as an event is dead. Build quality into the life cycle. Stop wasting time creating test cases, and really that will get outdated anyways. And use model, use visuals as you are already using, but use that to get to the output that really matters to you. At least that's the lesson we have learned ourselves. And that's it. Thanks very much.